Hey, do you know the difference between a peach cobbler, a crisp, and a crumble? I don't, but I made something. And if you'd like to know how to do it, just follow along. Ay, ay, ay. All right, I found a peach cobbler recipe on the internet, and it's very, very simple, and you can use a lot of Dollar Tree ingredients. So I thought I would whip one up. You heard of easy peasy lemon squeezy? This is going to be something like peachy keen, you know what I mean, or something. So all we're going to need here is a stick of butter, unsalted butter, a cup of flour, 3/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, all right? We're going to need a cup of milk, a little bit of salt, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of vanilla, and this bad boy, a can of sliced peaches in heavy syrup. We whip it all together, throw it in a ready oven at 350 for 50 minutes, and we get peach cobbler at the end. Couldn't be simpler. Couldn't be easier. But let's see what happens. All right. We start off by melting a stick of butter in a 9x13 baking dish. This is a 9x13x2. It's rated as a 3-quart baking dish. We pop this in the oven. We let the stick of butter melt down, and then we pour the batter on top of it. Now, when I do a puff pie or a magic puff pie, you get the oven nice and hot, the plate nice and hot with the melted butter, and then when you pour the batter on top of it, it crisps the underside and makes it amazing, like sort of a puff type of dessert. So we're going to melt the butter and then add the ingredients right on top of the butter. Here we go. Here are my dry ingredients. Very simply, it's a cup of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of sugar, all right, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, all right, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I like to add a little bit of nutmeg whenever I use cinnamon. And then finally, you're going to see a cup of milk mixed in with that. That's your batter, okay? What you don't see right now are the peaches or the canned peaches being mixed in. They are the last thing that gets added to the entire project, all right? All right, so let's talk about your peaches. Can we talk about your peaches? I've been wanting to talk about your peaches all day. So let's look at your peaches. This is a can of Pampa sliced peaches in heavy syrup. You can see it's at least 15 ounces and at least 400 grams. You're going to need that size can for this recipe. All right. Now, the Pampa sliced peaches, they're from China. And right on the label, it says, may contain pits or pieces of pits, all right? And a viewer mentioned that the can she opened had pits in it. So you might want to spend the extra money and get your can of sliced peaches from a grocery. If you buy sliced peaches, you need them in heavy syrup, not in juice. So let's take a look and see how these peaches stack up. Well, the first thing I encountered with this Pampa can of peaches is I can't open it with the dollar store can opener. I need to go medieval on this. You're going to need the old-fashioned can opener, which I no longer have. So I'm going to have to figure a way of getting into this can. This thing just won't fit on the top, really. And then when you do get a grip with it, you only get one spin out of it, before it refuses to go any further. So I don't like this can already. I'm going to have to try several ways to get the product out of this can. And we'll see how lucky I get. All right, through sheer cunning, Massachusetts wit, and right-handed skill, I was able to get the cover off. But I had to turn it upside down. That's the only way I could get a grip. So keep that in mind. Here are the peaches, and I'm just showing you what they look like, and I am looking for pits. All right, these look pretty clean. I'm going to check the insides to make sure there are no stones hanging on to those. But these don't look too bad pit-wise. They should work just fine. If you get the Pampa one, just check them for pits before you throw them into your recipe. Checking on the butter. At 350, it's taking a while to melt. My problem was I probably just took it straight out of the fridge. You might want to let your butter come to room temperature before trying to melt it. The butter is almost melted, so here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to throw the milk into the dry ingredients and I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to be quick about it because I'm afraid the baking powder is going to lose its efficiency the longer this sits. I'm going to make the batter. Then I'm going to pour the batter into the over the melted butter, and then I'm going to hand place the peaches on top of everything, and then I'm going to pour the syrup all over the top of the batter. I'm not mixing the peaches or the syrup into the batter, even in the dish. It's going to be the final topping, and it's going to supposedly produce a cobbler that's cake-like on the sides and a little bit of gooiness inside towards the interior. Apparently people like it that way. We'll find out about it. All right, I'm starting to think that the 9x13 pan was too big. Instead of a 3-quart, I wonder if you can get a 9x13 2-quart, or just go with the 2-quart. I couldn't get the batter to spread out. Once I put it onto the butter, it was very, very hard to get it to spread. It seems to be moving now, but I put on the peaches, and now you just take the syrup and you pour. And then everything goes in the oven for 50 minutes minimum. 40 to 50 minutes. So you just take the syrup that was in the can and pour. Well, that was an unmitigated disaster. The 9x13 pan was far too big to handle the cobbler. I had more butter than cobbler batter, it looked like. And the other thing I did, or may have done wrong, was I didn't manage the syrup. I poured most of the syrup on top of everything. Maybe I shouldn't have. Now, what I did find was my dirty casserole dish that I probably should have used. And this one is an 11x7 instead of a 9x13. But it would have fit a lot better, I'm thinking. This is the 11x7. I think it would have been a better fit for the batter, which was only a cup of flour and a cup of milk, really, and then the sugar and the spices and a little bit of salt. I don't know why, but hopefully it'll improve in the oven. We have it in the oven now for, I have put it on for 45. It goes between 40 and 50. I usually need an extra 10 minutes in my oven, so we'll watch it and see what happens. So while everything is baking away, let's go back to the original question. What's the difference between a cobbler, a crisp, and a crumble? Well, it turns out that the cobbler is either a cake-like batter or biscuit-like batter. All right? And biscuits would be good, but we're using the cake recipe. And a crisp has oatmeal mixed in with the sugars and cinnamon that you sprinkle on the top. That's crisp. And then crumble. The crumble of all things, is like a crisp, but without the oatmeal. So I guess you're just getting streusel on top. And that's the answer to that quiz for today. Add up your answers and we'll figure out who wins. Look at that, something's happened. It's spread out and it looks like it's going to be normal. Hallelujah. Look at this. Through a natural application of superior tactics, we succeeded. 45 minutes in the oven. Made it nice and brown. The dough expanded, the batter expanded, and took the peaches along with it. There's some butter and juice left up in here in this corner. Probably be soaking up as it cools off. Even as thin as it was when I put it in the pan, I probably could have used a spatula or something to spread it out a bit, make it a little bit more uniformed. But we have a cobbler, and cobblers are served warm, usually with ice cream, vanilla ice cream, or cream of some kind. So we're going to let this cool a bit, and then we'll plate it and give it a taste test. Here's the finished product being plated up here. You can see we have sort of a cake-like appearance around the insides of the where the peaches are. It's a little bit softer than cake. Very delicious. Talk about the peaches at this point. These are the Pampa peaches made in China. They're okay. I'm not happy with them in that they don't taste as good as American canned peaches. And this dessert is not as sweet as I thought it would be because the heavy syrup in the Pampa was not very sugary. Mr. Bren, hang about. And here it is with some vanilla ice cream. Now remember, if you want more peaches, add a second can of peaches, but just the fruit. Don't add the second can of heavy sugar syrup, heavy syrup. You only want syrup from one can, and you can add as many peaches as you want. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. And now I'm just going to help myself to a little dessert that is served warm. Cobbler is served warm with a little bit of cold vanilla ice cream from Hood.